Excuse me. Since it's been a couple weeks since we got together, I want to just do kind of a quick chazara of the first four prakim, um, and then we will get into chapters 5 and 6. So, to kind of quickly summarize chapter 1, we start off with there's this couple, right? There's a woman who's in love with a man,
Come
and
chase me. Come
right,
chase me.
she's professing her love. She's talking about how she's black but beautiful, so she still wants him to find her attractive. She talks to these Benos Yerushalayim and asks where the man is, and then she's kind of trying to gather his affection, and he doesn't seem to sort of respond. Right? She asks, tell me where you pasture your sheep. He's a shepherd, and she's guarding the vineyards, and he's like, look, you can go follow somebody else. I'm not, he doesn't respond to her overtures, at least in a very receptive way. In the second parak, again, she starts comparing herself to all these different things, to a Shoshana, like a Tapuach, all these various things. And then she starts talking about how she wants to engage with him, Hevianu el Beit Hayayin, um, Smolo Tachas L'Roshi, V'Yamino Techabkeni, and she's sort of almost like in this dream state we talked about. Then she makes the Benot Yushalayim swear that they're not going to, kind of get her out of her dream until it's the right time. And then she talks about the man kind of coming and approaching her, at least kol dodi dofek. Kol dodi hine zebah is what we have in Parak Bet. He's peering through the windows, um, and then he starts to talk to her. Or at least she's quoting him talking to her, where he's saying, it's springtime. All of the animals are out, and it's time to kind of blossom. Um, and she, in turn, doesn't necessarily respond too strongly to what he has to say. Instead, she's like, look, I'm not really available. She says, Achazulanu shualim shualim katanim, I've got to go catch the foxes or whatever. I'm busy guarding the vineyard. Um, and then we get to Paragimel. So now she's on her bed, and she wants to meet with her lover. So she goes around the city. She asks these. We introduce some new characters here. We have the guardians of the city. Do you know where the at Shava Nafshi? Where is this person that I love? And then she makes again the Benot Yushalayim swear not to sort of arouse anything until it's the right time. And then we get this very interesting scene where the camera sort of pivots away from the conversation that they've been having to the mitato shel Shlomo that Shlomo is traveling through, and we talk about his bed, or whatever
Guards.
this caravan is, that it has all the various incense and is guarded, and it's inlaid with gold and silver. And we talked about comparisons to the Mishkan. So that was the end of Parak Gimel. And Parak Dalid, we had he starts complimenting her. So he starts talking about how beautiful she is behind her veil, and that her teeth are like yews, and all these very very interesting sort of comparisons to various either to the stuff that he shepherds, or various fruits. And we talked about connections to Eretz Yisrael, and what did we have? We had the jewelry. The right, her neck is like a tower with the shields on it, and we talked about how that's the necklace. Um, and he's now calling out to her to kind of have a rendezvous. And she, in turn, is inviting him to her garden, and talks about connecting with him there. Um, and then we ended with the first pasuk in Parak Hay, where he says that he enters the garden and he partakes of the fruit, and we talked about how that's kind of a euphemism for them experiencing love with one another. Okay, so we are now going to start Parak Hay, and we're going to start at pasuk Bet, and we need someone to read for
You did the
us.
first.
Por
You did the
favor.
first passage.
We did the first pasuk, right? So we talked about
Hooray.
the chapters. Right. Well, the problem is that the chapters are sort of misaligned. That really pasuk pasuk aleph in Parak Hey is really the end of Parak Dalet. It was just kind of misconstrued. Go ahead, please.
Sani Yashena, relieve the air, so I was asleep, but my heart stayed awake. Cole, listen, Dodi, do fake. My lover knocking. Who's talking, him or her?
This is her talking, so she's resting, but at the same time she's awake, or at least her heart is awake.
Pisuli, Achosi, Raishi, open my sister, my friend. Yonasi, Samasi, my dove, my perfect one. Shiroshi, Nimla Tol, my hair is wet, drenched. Kusasai, or Siche Laila, the dew of the night.
Okay, so we get a harsh break, right? The last pasuk, last couple psukim, she invites him to the garden. He shows up at the garden. They've kind of united, and then we don't get any follow up from that. There's no continuity. It's very hard in Shir HaShirim in general to understand the continuity, the flow of the Megillah. But now all of a sudden she's back to being asleep, right? We had before that al mishkavi baleilot. Here it doesn't mention that she's on her bed, but she talks about being asleep. And then again, we don't get him knocking, just like we had before. It's kol dodi. The voice of the dode is what's knocking at the door, and we get all these various synonyms or flowery language describing how much he's describing how much he loves her, achosi, rayosi, etc. And it's nighttime, right? So he's outside, and it must have been raining, and he wants her to let him in to see her.
Wait, where do you get that from?
That it's nighttime?
No, that he's not there.
He's outside, and he
yeah.
wants her to let him in. So he says, "Pitachti li, open the door for me, right? Open something, let me in."
Right.
So what would you expect her to do? Like, oh yay, my lover is here. I'm super happy. Like, come on in.
But it could be like a month later.
Right. It could be a month later. There could have been a fight in between.
Right,
Yes.
He could have like left in the middle of the night, and then a month later, all of a sudden he's back.
Right. So let's hear her response.
Bashati es kutanti. I've taken off my clothes. Echa el bashena. How can I dress again? Rachasti es ragli. I bathed my feet. Echacha.
Atanfein.
Atanfein. Must I dirty them?
Right. So basically, she's like, I'm not, and this is sort of a running theme in Shir HaShirim, that where one party wants, the other party doesn't want, and they don't necessarily maintain the relationship for any duration. The question here is she being coy? Like, is this real? Like, sorry, I can't be bothered, go away, or is it? Well, do you really want to come in? I mean, you're gonna make me get up. I mean, I guess if you keep knocking, then I'll come. And she's sort of egging him on. I think it can be read either way.
My love reaching for the latch, and my heart. Or may I hamu Allah?
Wait, what? What?
Yeah, okay, let me start again. Dodi shalach, my love reached in.
Yeah.
Yado me'achar, in for the latch.
Okay.
May I hamu Allah, and my heart beat wild.
Okay.
Or my kishkas, my
Right.
intestine.
Yeah, there's no word heart here at all. I'm not even going to get into there are some academic readings of this that see it as a very erotic description. I don't believe that is a fair reading, but the second part of the pasuk is like the song you have in Havan Yakir Li Ephraim, right? Kimi de dabri bo zocher al ken hamu me'ai lo, right? My insides churn for Ephraim is what Hakadosh Baruch Hu is saying. So over here, she says, "Dodi shalach yado min achor." He removes his hand. Usually, shalach yado min means take his hand back, not place his hand in the chor. They translate it as latch. It means like the hole. Umei hamu alav, and my insides churn for him. They yearn for him.
Kamti ani lentoach adadi. I rose to open to my love. Yadai nafu more. My fingers wet with myrrh. Vespo osai myrrh of air. Sweet flowing myrrh. Al kapos haman ul on the doorbolt.
Right. So let's try to remember these various spices because we're going to talk about them a little bit more. We're going to see that each of the lovers describes the other one as almost the same. So the way he describes her, she's going to describe him, and vice versa. But so she said, like, well, first he comes knocking. She's like, I don't know. I just already took off my shoes. I'm watching Netflix,
Yeah, she's
and
like jello.
right, and so he removes his hand, and then she suddenly feels like, well, I gotta go, and so she gets up to go open the door. And she's suddenly perfumed, right? She's got myrrh and all this myrrh all over the place, to the point where it's dripping off the door handle. That's how much she's doused herself with. And then let's keep going.
Pasafki ani l'dodi, I opened to my love. L'dodi shamak
Chamak avar.
chamak avar, but he had slipped away. Nafshi yatsa b'dabro, how I wanted him when he spoke.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
My breath left me when he spoke.
Okay.
um,
Oh, you have.
Yeah, I don't have the translation here.
So here I have. I was faint because of what he said.
okay. Because Tihu v'lo Sihu, I sought him everywhere, but I could not find him. I called his name, but he did not answer.
Okay. So he comes knocking. She gives
so
him.
her ploy backfires.
Right. She gives him the slightest bit of, like, like not being responsive, and he completely takes off.
Yeah.
Right. And to the point where now she's like seeking him out as opposed to him seeking her out, and she's having a hard time. Like, she's calling to him, he's not answering. It's not like he kind of withdrew but was waiting to see maybe she'll come after me. He's gone. So now, Charles, I want you to remember the shot you had of the guardians of the city, and she says, "Where's Esh'ava Nafshi?" We're going to meet these same guardians again a second time, but it's a very different meeting. This is maybe the weirdest pasuk in all of Shir Shirim, in my opinion.
Then the watchmen found me, and they went about the city. Kuni, Uni, they beat me and they bruised me. Nasu es redidi me'alai, they tore the shawl from my shoulders. Shermer hachamos, those watchmen of the walls.
So what just happened?
Well, it sounds like they think that she's like delirious or a lunatic and is just wasting their time. Like, again, looking for some mysterious or phantom lover.
Okay.
So they're getting aggravated, they're getting frustrated, and just
So they just beat her?
just yes, don't wouldn't you do that?
Maybe she's like a little crazy. I mean,
Okay.
like an abusive, toxic relationship.
It sounds like you're thinking similarly to what Shimmy's saying, that like there's something wrong with her.
Yeah.
Like there's something psychologically wrong with her, and so their response is to beat her up. Yeah? Does that?
Yeah. I mean, I guess she went out in her nightgown still, and right.
Okay, so now you're getting a little closer to some of the other interpretations I've seen, which is they're kind of thinking that she's like a woman of the night. Like, why is she out here searching for men? Maybe she's not of high moral standing, and so their job is to not allow that kind of thing in Yerushalayim. Maybe we're in Yerushalayim. I don't know.
Not for their own use. You're saying for the public.
Right. So there's no indication that they did anything more than physically hurt her. This nasu es redidi me'alai is kind of vague. They took some sort of clothing off of her. We don't get any more information than that. It's not necessarily you don't get enough information to know like what this. How do you translate redidi?
The shawl.
Shawl.
And here it says veil.
Veil. I have mantle.
On the bottom, it talks about it like with Tamar, it had the veil.
Right, but that's a different word.
Yeah, but so they're thinking.
Oh, the veil makes you think that she's a prostitute.
Because maybe in the old times in the Middle East, they used to wear.
Right. Okay. But what you don't see is what you had mentioned before. Like, maybe she's a famous person, and when she says, "I'm looking for the man that I love," everyone knows who that is. They see her and they think she's either crazy or she's a prostitute or someone that is worth beating up.
Happened to Britney Spears. Just saying.
Okay.
I mean, everybody kind of turned on her. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Could happen.
After Pasuk Zion, you might expect some, like, I don't know, maybe not medical care, but at least like licking your wounds or something, she goes right back to the speaking to people who we didn't even know are in the scene, and she's now once again talking to the Benot Yushalayim.
Swear to me, the daughters of Yerushalayim. In Timsu as Dodi, if you find him now, Matagidu Loy, you must tell him, Shecholas Ava Ani. I am in the fever of love.
Okay, so these Benos Yushalayim, up until now, we've mentioned them a couple times. They just seem to be the audience, right? They seem to be someone that she speaks to. That maybe it's like a refrain, right? This is sort of poetic language, and sometimes as a chorus, you'll repeat a phrase, right? But now the audience or the chorus actually participates in the song, so they start interacting with her.
How is your lover different? Hayofet Anoshim from any other, oh beautiful woman. Madodech Midod, who is your lover? Shekacha Hishpatanu, that we must swear to you.
Right. So she's been telling them over and over again, swear to me that you're going to do this and that you got to find my lover because he's, I'm lovesick for him. And their response is, who is this guy? Right? Like you're so enamored with this dude. What is it about him? And she's like, oh, let me tell you, you're going to get like 8 psukim of how beautiful this guy is.
My beloved is milk and wine.
What?
That's not even close.
Let me finish. Dogo Mervava, he towers above 10,000.
Very interesting. So Stephen, what do you have for Tzach Ve'adom? Right, Dodi is my beloved. Okay, Tzach Ve'adom, you have, sorry, one more time?
Is milk and wine.
Milk and wine, okay.
Yeah, so he does the colors. It's shining white and ruddy.
Okay, I have clear skinned and ruddy.
I don't have anything.
Oh, we got to get you one of the.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
This one?
Go with the printout. Go with the printout. Because the Ginsburg is going to be very similar to the JPS.
Okay, hold on, I gotta find where we're at then.
510.
Yeah, it's not numbered.
Right.
Oh, that's annoying.
I'm doing that the first time.
Oh.
Okay.
Rather.
Yeah. Sorry.
You know
Okay. Blah blah blah. Okay.
it has to be the word 10,000 because I love it. Right before the 10,000.
510.
And you have, sorry, for Dagul Mirvava, you have standing above.
He towers above.
Towers above. Okay.
Standing out among 10,000.
Okay, I have preeminent among 10,000.
Bright and flushed.
Bright and flushed for Tzach V'Adom. Okay.
What is the standard translation?
So Tzach is like clean, and Adom is red, right? So she's describing this guy as
That's from Anim Zmiro Dalsa, right?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of parts of Anam Zemiros that are
crazy.
taken from.
I'm not crazy. Where's my man? I'm not crazy.
The next pasuk is also going to be a source for Anam Zemiros, but so she's describing this guy. So we start to at least get a picture of what he looks like. He's Adom.
Do we really?
So that's going to be my question. So I
Is
don't.
he a redhead?
I don't even understand.
Is he a ginger?
Right, maybe he has some reddish complexion. I don't know how Dagul Mirvava is a description of him. Right. First, we start with like a physical description, and then we're like, and he's also the leader of 10,000 of thousands of people.
Dagul is that like Degel, like banner?
Yeah, to be raised up above. Okay.
Rosho Kesampaz, his head is burnished gold.
Even though a minute ago he was reddish, now he's like bronzed or golden.
Red gold kind of goes together a little bit.
Okay.
Gavusa Sov Tatam, the mane of his hair, Shchoros Korev, is black as a raven. So that's a contradiction, right?
Yeah, usually someone who's like has a reddish, is not going to necessarily have black. And what did you have? The what of his hair?
The mane of his
So
hair.
taltalim are usually curls, I think.
Okay.
Okay, it's close enough.
Enough Kionim,
And now we're back. Do you remember we had this before, where she was described with eyes like doves, right? Now he has
No,
eyes.
you have eyes like doves. No, you
Yeah,
have
doves.
eyes
Right,
like doves.
right.
Doves or doves? Doves?
Doves.
Oh, doves? I thought it was okay.
Yonim.
Enaf Kionim al Afike Mayim, his eyes like doves by the rivers. Um, Rochatzov, Becholov of milk and plenty.
No, what do you have? Rochatos becholov is what?
I'm sorry.
Milk and plenty?
I said, let's start again. Enaf Kionim, his eyes like doves.
Mm-hmm.
Al Afike Mayim, by the rivers.
Right.
Rochatzos Becholov, of milk and plenty.
Okay.
Yoshvos al Maleos, they don't have any types for it.
That's very interesting.
We have rinsing in milk and perched on stones.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, rochatzos becholov is washed in milk.
Yeah, bathing in milk.
Okay.
Yeah,
Dwelling
Yoshvot
by a
al
pool.
Lot.
Yoshvot al milate.
Dwelling by a pool.
Okay, sitting by set by a brimming pool is what I've got over here. But this is very intense descriptions of doves, right? Your eyes are not just doves, but they're doves. They're washed with milk and they're hanging out by a pool.
Lechayev, Karugos, Haboshem, his cheeks a bed of spices, Migdalos, Merkachim, a treasure, just as a treasure. Shivsosa, Shoshanim, a precious sense, his lips. Notfos, more over. Red lilies, wet with myrrh. So we have the myrrh again. Right, going back to him.
The shosh. So they 1 second.
Lechayev,
Merchakim sivsosav shoshanim notfot more over. How do they break that up?
so let's start again.
Sivsosav shoshanim is usually his lips are like shoshanim, like lilies. Notfot more over that are dripping with myrrh, right? That's what you have, something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Right.
So
what's Migdalos Merkachim?
I have banks of perfume.
It just says a treasure here.
I have towers of perfume. Tower.
Right, like migdal,
Yeah.
right?
A sprouting aromatic scents.
So I like altars better for that. But remember before she was the one dripping myrrh, right? When she came to open the door, she's notvot more over, and now his lips are notvot more over.
Yadav Glile Zahav, his arm a golden scepter. Mimulaim Betarshish, with gems of topaz. Mayav Eshesh Shane, his loins the ivory of thrones. Alufes Sapirim, inlaid with sapphire.
Okay, so the only thing I'll say about all this stuff is it's related to the Choshen, right? We have a lot of this the same materials of the stones of the Choshen.
Shokav Amude Sheish, his thighs are like marble pillars. Yusadim al Adne Puz, on pedestals of gold. Marehu Kalavanon, tall as Mount Lebanon. Bachor Karozim, a man like a cedar.
Okay.
That's good. Tiku Mamsakim Vahulo Mahmadim, his mouth is sweet wine, he is all delight.
Sweet wine.
I know.
Okay. They added the word wine over there.
Oh.
His mouth is sweet, or they have his mouth is delicious.
We have all sweetness.
Okay. The cool. Yeah.
Mamtakim are like
Delicacies.
Right.
You did put in the word, his mouth is sweet as drink.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't want to drink or wine.
Zedodi Bezerei, this is my beloved, and this is my friend, Benoshi Shleim, or daughters of Yeshua.
Okay, so that was a very long-winded answer to their question of, well, who is this guy? I'll tell you all about him, and I'll describe him. This is also important to note that she starts from the head and works her way down in terms of the description. Okay, who wants to pick up for Perek Vav?
I was taking some notes on these just for like the Shabbos table. You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of singing Ashes Hayo.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's like,
Honey,
let's
your eyes are like a dove.
Let's mix it up a little bit.
Right, I like that. I like that.
This is crazy. Okay. What was it?
I could do it, whatever.
Go ahead, Charlie.
All right. Ana halach dodech hayafa banashim. Ana pana dodech Unevakshenu imach. Okay. Where has your intimate gone, most beautiful of women? Toward where has your intimate set his course, that we may seek him with you?
Okay, so this is gonna sound funny, but first they ask her, who is this guy? She describes him as being gorgeous, and they're like, "Oh, we're happy to go look for him with you." Right? Before they were just sort of
Well, you're kind of nuts, right? Like, what do you want? What's so good about this?
right. First they were quiet. Then they like after hearing enough times of her saying, "Swear to me this, swear to me that," they're like, "Look, who is this guy?" And then she describes him, and suddenly they want to just like hike up their skirts and go running after wherever she could possibly find him. They're interested in tracking this guy down.
Huh.
And she, right, last parak, she has no idea where he is. She has a perfect answer. I know exactly where he went.
Okay. Dodi yarad legano, la'arugot habosem lirot baganim velilkot shoshanim. My intimate has descended to his garden, to the spice furrows, to pasture in the gardens and graze among the lilies.
Okay, Lil Coat is to collect, right?
Right.
So earlier she described herself as one of these lilies, as one of these Shoshanim, right?
I thought a Shoshana, it was a rose, not a lily.
So that's a more modern Hebrew translation. To the best of my knowledge, the appropriate translation for biblical Hebrew would be a lily.
Uh-huh.
Um, I've seen lotus. I don't really understand where that comes from. But she described herself kashoshana ben ha'amakim, like she's described herself as a shoshana.
Right.
So there's it's quite possible that that's just a term for like a euphemism for women.
Uh-huh.
So if he's going down to his garden and he's going to collect Shoshanim, he's either looking for her or he's looking for her and other girls. Maybe he's like a single bachelor. I've seen descriptions of this like being compared to the end of the Gemara in Tainus that talks about on Tu B'Av that the girls would go out and the
Dressed
boys
in white, and the
right
guys would just grab them and just
right
be like, "All right, you're good. Let's go get married."
whatever it is, but there's some sort of like singles mingling going on over there. So that's not clear to me. But the one thing she has said to these Benos Yerushalayim is, I know exactly where he is. He went to the garden to go look for lilies to pick.
Ani ledodi v'dodi li haroa b'shoshanim. Right, this famous one.
Right.
I for my intimate for me who grazes among the lilies.
Right. So at least the way I'm reading it, she's kind of staking a claim. Like, yeah, he might have gone out to look at all the lilies, but he's mine. Like I'm his lily, so to speak.
Back off, girls.
So
this
go ahead.
pasuk has been used. Like I've heard my.
Anila dodi v'dodi li. Yeah.
I've heard my boss say it to his partner. Like, do they understand the context?
I can't imagine that they
Can't imagine, right?
No.
Like I've heard him say it. Right?
I mean, the Medrash will use this as a metaphor of the Jewish people and Hakadosh Baruch Hu. But yeah, from the simple language of the pasuk, it's a very beautiful response between a lover and his beloved. So now he's going to start describing her.
Uh-huh. Yafa at rayati katirtsa nava kirushalayim ayuma kanidgalot. Um, you are beautiful, my companion, as all women's desire.
As what?
As all women's desire.
Oh,
Attractive.
he's translating Tirza literally. Tirza is the name of a city.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Tirza is a proper noun. This is something Rabbi Clapper does often.
Right.
In Rus, it's actually very interesting because he'll translate the names of like Machlon and Kilion.
Right, as destruction and
Right, like
sickness and
destruction. So when you read the story, it's like, oh, and then sickness and destruction went to do X, Y, Z, and it
Right.
makes the story much more interesting.
Right, instead of going to Boca Raton, they went to Rat's Mouth, or
Something
whatever.
like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're beautiful as Tirza, as all desire.
Right, attractive as Jerusalem, awesome as
Oh,
a
Jerusalem,
banner,
he leaves as
awesome as a
Yerushalayim.
bannered
What is
army.
that? But what is he describing? Tirza is a just beautiful city.
So that's a great question. So there's Tirsa was a famous city in ancient Israel. It became later, after there was a split of the kingdom, it became sort of like a summer home for the kings of Yerushalayim,
It's like the Hamptons.
the Hamptons.
That's good.
But yeah, it is a beautiful city in Eretz Yisrael. She's Na'avek Yerushalayim also. And then what was Ayuma Kenidgalot?
Over here, awesome as a bannered army.
Anyone have anything?
Daunting as what looms on high.
Okay, so remember, she described him as like preeminent over right Dagul Mirvava, and now he gets to basically return the favor as also you're awesome, like a bunch of banners.
Okay.
So
Hasebi.
so that was too much for her. She gets all flush and she has to sort of deflect his compliment with her own compliment.
Hasebi einayech minegdi shehem hirhivuni sarech ke'eder ha'izim shegalshu min hagilad. Turn your eyes away from me, for they have overpromised me. Your hair is like a flock of goats cascading from Mount Gilad.
Which we had already, right?
Yes.
Yeah. No, you're totally
We
like a
even
goat.
had her saying, "Don't look at me," right? Because she was black and beautiful, so she like don't look at me in that way. This is too much for her.
Have the vapors.
Yeah. Um, and she keeps going with the teeth.
Right. Shinayech ke'eder harchelim sha'alu min harachza shekulam matimot v'shakula in bahem. Your teeth are like a flock of shorn ewes just emerged from the wash, all bearing twins with none miscarrying.
That's very specific.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say about this pasuk is that Rashi mentions it. The pasuk is like cut off. So the end of the pasuk should be v'shekula ein bahem. There is none among them that have miscarried, right? But the word miscarriage is not there. It's implied, and everyone sticks it in from the academics on down. But the literal translation is that they sha'alu min arachza, they came up from the washing. Shekula matimos, they're all twins. V'shekula ein bahem, and among all of them there is none. The implication is that none were lost, but and Rashi mentions that that word is not in the pasuk. You have to kind of fill it in yourself, which is unusual. It happens, but it's not frequent.
Right. Like a sheep's abortion, you're totally not that.
And this
Okay.
is also a pasuk we've seen before, and
Right.
now he's back to complimenting her.
Right. Kafelach harimon rayatech.
It's really
mivad
hard. It is
latzamatech.
really hard to know who is talking to who, and I could be wrong. This is my reading, and I will be happy to be disproven.
Right. It says, your cheeks are like a pomegranate rind behind your veil. Okay. Kafelach harimon rayatech mibad latzamatech. Okay. Shishim hema malachot ushmonim pilagshim va'alamot in mispar. Okay, 60 of my women are queens, and 80 concubines and maidens beyond number.
Okay, so that's interesting. He has it as my concubines and queens. I don't see that from the simple
No.
translation. It's just numbering. But I think this also plays into the reading that I was mentioning before, that the man has gone to be with a bunch of women, and she's trying to carve herself out as the one that he really wants. This is also there's some implication here that this man is probably some sort of dignitary or king. Like we're talking about queens and concubines, and right, this is like Shlomo's harem, right?
Right, he's a player.
Right. But even though there's all these women, here's his compliment to her.
Achat hi yonati, tamati achat hi le'ima, bara hi le'yolad Rahua Vanot by Shrua Malachot Ufilagshim by Halua. But my dove, my perfect one, is unique, unique to her mother, brilliant to her birth mother. Daughters praise her when they see her, and queens and concubines exalt her.
Right. So she's like, there might be the most fancy women in the world here, but the only one he has eyes for is her. And again, all the references to parents are only to the mother. There's never a reference to the father in the whole of the Megillah.
Mm-hmm. Elginat egos.
We need pasuk yud.
Oh, sorry.
Bezos.
Oh, I missed one.
Yeah.
Mizot hanishkafa. Kamo shachar yafa chalvana. Bara kachama ayuma kanidgalot. Uh, who is this who looks out like the morning star, beautiful as the moon, brilliant as the sun, awesome as a bannered army?
Okay. You asked me before. I don't know if this is him referring to her or her referring to him,
Right.
honestly.
For some reason in here they bold this whole pasuk. I don't know why.
So I think that's
Yeah.
how they changed from him to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm seeing it.
Right.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Sorry, I didn't catch that. Okay, so now it's her.
I
Mm.
guess.
Sort of. If we have the right vowel.
Right. Right.
we started the right direction.
But it doesn't tell you. There's no footnotes. Say which one is the one.
No, it's just bolding.
Mm.
So let's assume this is him paying her this compliment that she's as beautiful as the moon and radiant as the sun, because next he says, I'm coming to visit.
This should be the woman, right?
I don't
Because
know.
if he's saying right,
If pasuk 10 is
pasuk ches,
if pasuk
ches is him,
if pasuk ches is him,
right? No,
yeah, ches and tes is him.
right. And now it goes bold. So now it's
So yud can maybe still be him.
and the boldness doesn't mean anything.
Okay, so they're saying it's her. I hear that. Pasuk Yud Aleph is definitely him.
Or maybe it's the chorus.
Yeah, right. Pasuk Yud could right.
Yeah.
Pasuk Yud could be the narrator.
Right.
That's fair. Usually when it's a compliment, it's one paying a compliment to the other.
Right. Elginat egos yeraz dilirot beibei hanacha lirot hafarcha hagefen hinetsu harimonim. I descended to a chestnut garden to see the buds of the wadis, to see if the grape had flowered, if the pomegranates had fruited.
What wadis?
Right. Okay.
I don't even know what a wadi is.
So I went down to the nut grove to see the budding of the veil. I'm not sure, not VEILVALE, to see if the vines had blossomed, if the pomegranates were in bloom.
Yeah.
So, right. So it sounds like, if you're going to read this as a euphemism, so it means is he's going to meet her and see if she's ready to receive his love.
I can't believe he's missing this.
We've had some of this before where he says to her, spring has come and the fruit is blossoming, right? Now her response, if that's what's really happening, if there's like a euphemism going on over here, then her response is sort of like basically just fainting away. That's why pasuk Yud Bet, and we the first Shir we talked about pasuk Yud Bet in I think we gave like 8 or 9 different translations. It's almost like unreadable because it's her kind of just not really knowing how to respond to what he said.
Lo yadati nafshi samatni markavot amin nadiv. I could not know that my soul had placed me in the chariot of my nation's ruler.
Right. I have before I knew it, my desire set me among the chariots of Aminadiv. Right. We had a whole bunch of different translations for this.
But I have.
Yeah, go
Mine
please.
says, I scarcely knew myself. She set me in the noblest chariot.
Right.
Okay, Nafshi is as female.
Right. She sent me in the most lavish of chariots.
Right. So I don't know. The truth is I really don't know how to read this. If you read it as her kind of taking each one of these phrases almost broken up, like lo yadati, I don't even know what's going on. Nafshi samatni markavot aminadiv. My soul has placed me in the chariots of Aminadiv. It's like it's almost unintelligible. what she's saying, and it doesn't reference to anything else. We had a chariot earlier when he's comparing her to the chariots of Paro, but this doesn't seem to be calling back to that. It's very hard, and then that's the close of this dialogue, right? The next parak is a completely different story. It doesn't. There's no continuity from Vav to Zion.
It's like the Maxwell's commercial.
It's like the what?
The Maxwell's commercial. You know what I'm doing? They leave you hanging with this.
Right. It's very yeah. It is hard to follow. And next week we'll finish off the last two prakim, and then we can start actually trying to dissect and make sense of everything. Thank you guys for joining us.